Okay, let's get started on this. So one thing, first of all, is that Jared had a really good media call last night. And I thought like that'd be like what I do a lot is media on Amazon FBA. So I don't know if that's going to be the night they do it every night on it, but that was a really cool media call. So thanks for doing that. And I think that people got a lot of value out of that. I'm more into media on Amazon, but I think there's like a lot of like value in doing media on eBay and Amazon, and it's really abundant. So I think that media is something similar to clothing. You can really do really well on that. So I wanted to point out that like that media call was really good, and you probably should um, check that out definitely if you're in the group. But tonight, we'll focus on some ungating stuff. James has like graciously agreed to share his experience with ungating. He put a link to a document in the chat with some ungating brands. So, James, why don't you kind of like introduce yourself and like kind of your journey on Amazon and whatever else.
Okay. So everybody who doesn't know me, I'm James. I sell kind of half on eBay, half on Amazon. I've been selling on eBay now part-time with a full-time job for 2.5 years now. And then on Amazon for about 18 months. Um, I got started with Amazon because after about a month of the pandemic, on my birthday of no less than March of 2020, I was let go from my job and came home and said, great, everything's closed. I can't get more inventory. I'm selling the shit out of all the stuff I had. I had about 140 pairs of shoes at the time. I was only selling shoes. And I'm like, I got to find another way to make money because um, I'm from Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, they laid off roughly 40% of the town, or 500,000 people got laid off within a 6-week period. And so I was like, look, I can't count on unemployment. I don't know how long this is going to last. Luckily, my wife has a stable job, but I got to figure out a way. So literally, I signed up for Amazon. I went to Walmart the next morning. As soon as it was open, I was the third person in line to try and see what I could start selling. And when you start from nothing, you have to get ungated for everything. So it's really hard to find stuff. But luckily, a lot of the brands, because they couldn't send into Amazon, unlocked everything. And so I was able to start selling a lot of brands, seeing what could sell. But then as the summer wore on, as the warehouses started opening up, brands were able to get inventory back into Amazon. They all got locked down. And so I knew that I always wanted to sell Amazon on or sell Nike on Amazon. That was my ultimate goal, was to sell Nike. I used to be the first or second person at one of the Nike stores here every single day. In fact, the staff, if I didn't show up, they would ask, "Hey, where were you yesterday?" And a couple of the other people come in and they would buy like 50, 60, 100 pairs of shoes. And I'm like, I want to be those guys. I want to be buying 100 pairs of shoes and selling them on Amazon. But I knew that I had to get a lot more sales to get auto ungated. And I tried a couple different ways to get gated or ungated for Nike, and it just didn't happen. And so I just started focusing on a brand or two here, a brand or two there, trying to build up my sales, trying to build up my brands that I'm ungated for, to hopefully one day get that Nike ungate. Luckily, in April of this year, I was able to find a way to get Nike ungated. I looked earlier today. That is not there, but I gave you guys a resource, and I'll go over that in a minute. And so I've been able to ungate myself for every single brand I've wanted for. In fact, I found one there today that's next up on my list, which is Adidas. I am not, I want to get ungated for Adidas. We have a pretty big Adidas outlet here that sometimes has some amazing prices on their mid-tier shoes, which do really well on Amazon. And so I found one. I put in my order earlier today, and we'll see about 2 weeks whether or not I can get ungated for Adidas, because that would be huge. The other thing is I hit Ross almost every day. And so I'm looking at like, because I have a full-time job, my employer has allowed me to work before I go to Ross at home, go shopping for about an hour, hour and a half, and then go to the office. So I have very limited time to hit the 2 of the 5 busiest stores in all of Ross, but they have so much more inventory. their inventory is probably 4 to 5 times what other Rosses are, even in busy locales. So I can get in, get my inventory. So my goal is to get in there, get ungated for as many brands as possible that I could sell in there, and grab as much of the inventory that I can make money on and get out as quickly as possible. So, and one of the brands that I see a lot of stuff coming in, especially in the last 6 months, has been Adidas. So that's been on my list. So yeah, someone said they require Adidas ungates. I actually got ungated for Adidas Originals through a separate one. Actually, I didn't list that on the list, but you guys can try it. I was able to do it, but I've heard other people not be able to do it, but I'll drop a link to that. But this is Adidas Adidas Originals. I actually got ungated with socks, if you could believe it. It's the cheapest way for that to happen. So in the doc that I have, let me, if you guys want to go, I'll pull that up. So being that in my Amazon selling story, we were quickly racing to Q4 of 2020. So I was like, okay, I gotta get ungated for toys. EE distribution is your best bet. That is your money play in order to be able to get ungated. You're going to be able to get ungated for every single brand. If you click on the link, you can see every brand that they have there. You guys will be able to get ungated for almost everything. All these resources I'm telling you require proof that you are a legitimate business. You're going to have to send in your tax paperwork or your tax exemption paperwork, your business license. You can't just get haphazardly ungated on this stuff. You have to prove that you're a legitimate business. So if you don't have that, yes, Tech, eBay, East Bay works for Adidas Original. That's how I did it for Adidas Original, but it does not work for Under Armour or Nike or regular Adidas. I did try that with Nike and it didn't work, but I tried it with Adidas Original and it worked. I spent about $100 on socks. Yeah, they really clamped down on the amount of Nike people doing it, Tech. And so Nike only has certain suppliers that they trust to get you ungated. So all right. So, in toys, you have to be ungated for the toy category and you have to get ungated for the brand. So if you want to sell Marvel, you have to get ungated for Marvel and you have to get ungated for toys. Or Disney. That's going to be your biggest place. The thing that I see a lot with those is you have to find very specific products. It's going to take a little bit of time. You're going to have to, the good thing with EE distribution is they give you the UPC code. Just take the UPC code, go put it into Amazon, and make sure that you can get ungated for the brands that you want to get. I was able to buy, I forget what product I bought, but I ungated for Star Wars, Marvel, Hot Wheels, and toys all at the same time. In one order, I spent probably $300 or $400. And just understand that a lot of this stuff you're buying from EE and from these places, you're not going to get the greatest margin. Very rarely are you ever going to find something that's going to be 100% plus return. Most of the stuff I buy there is a solid 20 to 50% return, if that. So just understand that you can move a lot of product there, but you're just trying to get ungated and break even on the ungate if you can. For myself, my Nike one, I spent $1,200 on sunglasses, and I just sold my last pair of sunglasses from April 2 weeks ago, and I made probably $200 on them. But I didn't care because it ungated the brand, and I've since made thousands and thousands of dollars because I was ungated for Nike, and I could go get my stock of Nike at Ross, at Burlington, and at the Nike and the clearance stores. So, if you can break even on it or maybe even lose a little, but it gets you a major category ungate, I think that works. Like the Adidas ungate that I put in, I think I'm going to break even. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm like, look, even if I lose 10% on this, it's $275. Would I pay $27 to get ungated? Yes. For a major brand like that. So just kind of think of it like that. But the best thing to do, like I said, is to stack as many as you can. Try and get as many products as you can to get ungated, or do it as cheaply as possible. So like in the food category, to get ungated in food, I recommend Frontier Co-op. You got to go to the wholesale page there. Instead of the other one, I made the mistake of ordering from the regular Frontier Co-op first, and I got it rejected. So I had to go double order everything. I just ordered a couple spices, 10 units of each. Or 20 units of each, because that's what was in the package, and submitted it and was ungated within 24 hours. So, and ungated in the food category and ungated in the in that specific category. And then I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I sell a lot of Oreos. I had to get ungated for the Mondelez brand Oreo brand. So I ended up going to Webstaurant and buying Oreos from them, the single serve packets that you see at like your gas station, and getting ungated that way. I spent about $300 on that. Actually made decent money on those, but I think that just because they were having a special on them, and I had to sell them quickly because they were closer to the expiration date. On food, you can't keep anything in a warehouse that will expire within 90 days. So if it, so you can't keep a lot of long-term stuff in there, especially on the food categories. You just have to watch that. Like, I would love to be able to sell Twinkies in the warehouse, but you can't, because the supposed snack that will survive a nuclear blast has like 110-day date on it. So you can't actually use Twinkies. And if Twinkies are just over a pound, so you can't get like cheap shipping on it. It's like $8.50 or $9 to ship a box of Twinkies, and it costs $3 at Walmart. But if I could ship a box of them at a time in, I would love that, because that's actually a product that you make good money on it. You can actually get almost 100% return on that, but the shipping is just really expensive, and especially with UPS upping the price, it's not really worth it anymore. I did a couple of them to kind of see what was going on. So I know a lot of us here sell clothing. This eFashion Wholesale, I found them during COVID a year and a half ago, and started looking at some of their stuff. A lot of their lots you're going to spend about $2,500 and up. Sometimes you can get some smaller stuff. They have like ungating specials that they put together for specific brands that you can use that to get ungated. And so with that, they're a wholesale company. They have horrible customer service. I'm just letting you know, but that's how I got ungated in Nike and in Under Armour. And they just had a lot for Adidas that was under $5,000. So I've used them now, hopefully my fourth time, to get ungated for major brands. You can get 20 to 30% return very easily on a lot of their stuff, but it's a bigger commitment. Usually it's $2,500 to $5,000, but they literally have hundreds of brands that they're always bringing in. So if you have a list of brands that you want to get ungated for, then you go for it. Like, they have Victoria's Secret on there, and a couple months back they had large lots of bras, but it was $10,000. And I'm like, I'm not going to get into bras when I've never sold bras again for $10,000. Now, if they were to do like maybe a $500, get ungated on Amazon package for Victoria's Secret, that'd be money, because I also know where I can get large lots of returns from Victoria's Secret. So you can then turn around and sell those back on Amazon. Or eBay, but I don't do bras. And like Tech says, don't do something unless you know a lot about it, and stick to a niche. If it's not sports apparel or jeans, I don't buy it. And I'm getting away from jeans. I'm not going to do those anymore. If it's not Nike, it's not Under Armour, it's not Adidas, it's not a sports apparel or golf shirt or some kind of thing related to sports, I don't want to touch it. And that's kind of what I'm sticking to these days. I would love to do 100% shoes, but A, that's really expensive. And B, it's really hard to find enough stuff to scale this up as large as I want to go. So those are kind of my resources and how I got ungated. Let me give you guys a couple other tips and tricks when you're trying to find wholesaler companies. One of the things when you're looking for a specific brand, and like I had to do this for Disney, and I ended up getting ungated for Disney using face masks from a gas station wholesaler. Those kind of, because they have small orders, because they're dealing with mom and pop gas stations. And so they, you can get in, I think I spent $145 to get ungated on Disney. Honestly, I haven't even set the face masks in because I had other stuff that I wanted to immediately go out and get and do because I knew that I can make money on that. Like I got ungated with Lego using Entertainment Earth, the EE distribution. They don't sell Lego anymore. I have no clue how you're going to get ungated on Lego these days. It's kind of like a $10,000 question for a lot of people. It's one of the harder ones to get these days because the two companies that everybody went through, they closed down. And they stopped distributing to them. So,
one thing on Lego to kind of jump in is I've heard mixed results with people being able to ungate through Lego.com. Someone in our group recently posted they were able to do it, but some people say they can't. So it depends on that. That can be one of the harder ones, definitely.
Well, the people that say they've done it, that I know that they said they've done it, they've changed the receipt to invoice. So
I don't recommend doing that. Like, I'm not sure if that person did that, but definitely do that.
Yeah, do not do that. I've known people in other groups that have gotten their accounts banned because you're essentially creating fraud. So if there's a listing, yes. The problem that I've had, KB, with a lot of the stuff that Nike has is someone's used the UPC code somewhere else and created a listing, and then they turned the listing off and deleted it, but the UPC code's still in Amazon listing. Like at the clearance store 2 weeks ago, I was able to get 20 polo shirts, all extra large. The large was on there, but the extra large wasn't. And so I tried to create the extra large and it wouldn't let me because it says that this UPC code has already been in use. And so I've had to go round and round with them a lot on trying to get that. I still don't have it up, but I only paid $4.99 for $55 Nike Dry Fit Polo golf shirts. So any tips for ungating Starbucks? Gas station, actually. I know someone that was able to do that. I don't personally haven't done that, but they were able to use one of the gas station single serve Starbucks stuff, and they were able to get ungated on that. Seller sabotage listings all the time, KB. Yeah, I see that a lot. I got on another listing yesterday, and the price has dropped 45% in 24 hours. So I'm like, okay, you guys go ahead and sell out at 50% off, and I'll stay where I'm at. So, but yeah, so with ungating, just search for wholesaler, search for like people, the type of places that would be buying small amounts. Gas stations is one of the ones that the niches kind of I found. They're good because they're used to small orders. Because you can get ungated if you want to spend $50,000, but I mean, I don't think all of us want to tie up 50 grand in inventory like that. So yes, they will supply an invoice to you because they're a wholesaler. So they'll send you an invoice. The other thing is, like with a lot of the stuff, you'll get an invoice right away. EE Distribution will give you an invoice, and you can just go ahead and upload that to Amazon before you even get the product. So you can go to EE Distribution probably within by Wednesday, you could be selling Marvel and in the toy category and some of those other big things by Wednesday of next week. They have a little bit of approval process that you have to go through. You have to meet with the sales rep and all that other stuff. They have to make sure that you're a legit business. But once you're up and running, it's probably 2 or 3 business days at the longest to get in and get up. They give you an invoice that you can submit right away, even if you don't take delivery of the product. And right now, EE distribution is getting crushed by the supply chain. Like I have stuff that I ordered in March, April, and May for Q4. I think it says Q2 or Q3 next year. So I'm not going to get it for a year after I ordered it, hoping to have it for Christmas this year.
Yeah, we've heard that a lot in the Discord group too. Like a lot of people are really like they're having a lot of issues with e distribution right now, actually getting their orders, like actual items they want to resell, that not just for ungating, but they're just super backed up right now. So it's a problem.
Yeah, it just sucks because I have, like, for me personally, I have $15,000 worth of inventory that I have on order with them. I have to hold the 15K back because I don't know when they're going to ship it, because they could get it tomorrow and say, well, you owe me $10,000 for this order. And it's like, and you kind of got to pay it. So, yeah. And that's the one thing with them is they're clear up until a point, but if they get something in 2 or 3 or 4 months early, they don't care. I was planning on paying for that. You told me it was May. It's now, December. It's here. You're paying for it. So it sucks in trying to plan ahead for those things, but you'll get used to it. And this year is an exception to the rule. Usually they're pretty good. The last couple of years, they've been pretty good at when they say they're going to deliver something, it's pretty accurate. It may be 2 to 4 weeks late at the latest, but the whole supply chain issues got everybody else screwed up. So I don't blame them. And they are, fun fact, they are the largest distributor of toys in the country.
Oh, I didn't know that for them. I didn't know they were that big. But
They're
yeah.
huge.
Oh, yeah. Uh, so I had a couple questions like I'm not like super into like Ungame because I've done most of my stuff auto ungated like through the years. So I kind of just wanted to let you talk about that a lot. But like a lot of stuff with your story is really cool, like how you got started with like during the pandemic and kind of getting started then. How was that for you when just getting started on Amazon, or why did you want to sell on Amazon, or like what was your like how did you kind of get started with it? I'm just curious.
Well, I knew I wanted to sell on Amazon. I was at a point where I couldn't get more inventory. So if I wanted to have a business and survive during the pandemic, I had to do it. And so like I sold $30,000 worth of sidewalk chalk. I would literally walk into Walmart, use BrickSeek, be the first person there and go buy every box I could get. And it qualifies for media mail according to my postage person. And only once did it, of a couple thousand orders of it, only once did someone say this isn't media mail. And so I was, making like 200 or 300% profit on it. A $4 or $6 box of chalk, I was making $3 to $9 on. So it was really good, but I'd seen the Amazon model, and being that I have a background in internet marketing, I've kind of seen a lot of these guys, let's call them the snake oil salesman, that, oh, you could build this, product up on Amazon. It's really just as easy as going this. It's like, so it kind of turned me off on a lot of the way that these guys were teaching it. Build your own product and scale up to multi-millions of dollars. I made $5,000 before I got up for my coffee this morning. It's like, yeah, if it's only that easy, you're not telling me how much profit you made and how much inventory you have. It's easy to make $5,000 if you're buying $100,000 worth of inventory. Like, I've got a couple $1,000s to throw at this right now. How do I make it work? And so, I just dove into groups, spent a lot of time at Walmart, at Target, at wherever I was, just scanning everything. I have a rule. If I'm ungated, I automatically hit the ungate button. If I scan something and it says gating, I'm clicking that button every single time to find out, what do I have to get ungated for? Can you get auto ungated? Like, Last week I was at Walmart. I scanned a couple things. I found some stuff that I thought I was ungated for, but I'm not ungated anymore. And so I just went ahead and requested, and boom, you're approved. If you're a member of the Discord group that you have, there's a lot of ungates, auto gates in there. I go through there once a week just to make sure get ungated for other brands. Just so that way, when you go to scan stuff, you see a lot of stuff coming up that you want to get. You never know when you're going to sell Hallmark, but there was a Hallmark auto ungate under there on a very specific product. Because I saw another product 2 weeks ago for Hallmark that wouldn't auto ungate me, but that one product allowed me to get auto ungated for Hallmark. So just keep checking back on those things, and just every 6 months I go through the list of some of the brands that I want to get. I have existing applications. I know what ASIN I applied with. Just go ahead and try that ASIN again and see. I see a lot of people, there's tiers, did you sell 100,000 in a year or $10,000? Are you selling $10,000 a month consistently? When I hit 10K a month consistently, I noticed that I got a lot more auto ungates. So just, trying to get to those tiers. When I hit 250K lifetime in my account, I noticed it got a little bit easier. And so pretty much now I'm pretty much auto ungated for almost everything, because I've ungated most of the hard ones except for like Adidas. That's the only one that I have left on my list that I need to get. And I was thinking about doing Polo, but I don't know enough about Polo on Amazon to even attempt that. So I'm just not going to attempt, because right now I'm in a game where when I run out of capital to deploy, I'll start going to bigger and better brands. Right now, I have enough problems trying to get rid of my money and go buy more inventory. It's not for lack of inventory. So I'm kind of just, unless it's a very specific item that I'm trying to do, then I'm not going to try and go on my way to get ungated on big brands.
Tech says something in the chat. He says he got ungated for Polo by ordering from RalphLauren.com. They sent an invoice with the orders. I submitted that. I did check Polo for me, and I can sell it, so it might be something you can auto ungate. Maybe I auto ungated in the past. For Adidas, I definitely can't. I don't think that Adidas you can auto ungate anymore. My account's pretty much at max like auto ungate right now. Like I'll pretty much get ungated for anything that's possible to get auto ungated for. And like what you said, 10K per month is about when you start to see a lot of auto ungates. So if you kind of get to that point, that's when I started to get them. Also, Nike, I was auto ungating that. I don't think you can auto ungate that anymore, though. I did like auto ungate it recently when they kind of locked down the category. So I'm not sure exactly if you can auto ungate Nike or not based on sales, but some of the stuff you do have to submit the invoice for, no matter what. Like and some of the stuff you can get the auto ungate for. So it depends a little bit on that kind of stuff with it, like which one it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You were saying that like you were into internet marketing before this kind of stuff. That's like I was kind of sort of into that, like doing websites, affiliate marketing. Like what was that experience like for you, and like switching to this kind of stuff? I'm just curious because
I still do it every day. I mean, that's my full-time job. I mean, I work a friend of mine who I've done work for 15 years, and ever since I moved to Las Vegas, he decided to start a limo company. And we recently got approved as the first new limousine company in Las Vegas in 14 years. And so I'm handling all his website design, internet marketing, and in fact, all of his marketing. So we're, I have to leave here and go have cocktails over at Area 15 with them because we're trying to get their door and provide transportation to and from Area 15, which if you ever come to Vegas, check it out. It is an awesome experience, and they really, really did a good job on it. Go during the afternoon, because if you go at night, they're going to starting at the first of the year, they're going to start charging to get in after 5 p.m., but not in the afternoon. So, but yeah, so I mean, I'm weird. I went to college for this stuff in the late 90s when internet was just starting. And so I've been doing website design now for 25 years. I was early on in the SEO game, like 2002, 2003, where it was like the wild, wild west. You just put Britney Spears on your page 50 times and you rank better than someone else. So I've seen every tip and trick how to do it. And, now I'm more content based and just really trying to do whole stack marketing for everybody that I do. But yeah, that's my full time job. I still do it. I love it. I'm blessed to be able to love what I do every day and make a good amount of money doing it. So, and it doesn't help. It also helps that, hey, if I get fired because, in any types of things, like I've been let go from jobs. People change, managers come in. I have a background in restaurant marketing. I went to work for a restaurant. 6 months later, they changed manager, and guess who was one of the first employees gone? Me, because they wanted to hire an agency and I was expensive. So, it's always nice to be able to have this stuff to fall back on. So that way you're not just completely falling on your butt with zero paycheck. I still have a very healthy living coming in on the side. And because I don't need this check, I can scale this a lot faster than other people.
Yeah. Like I probably was like around the same SEO forums that you were around back then. So
Probably. Probably.
yeah. Matthew in the chat says, "Hi James, changed my shipping address to my billing address, so I'm worried I won't be able to use it to ungate." In the group, a number of people said that Amazon will likely accept it, but I'm worried they won't. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't think it should be a problem as long as that address matches your address on Amazon. You should be good. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for, does my address on Amazon match my address that the stuff's being sent to? So does that answer your question, Matt?
I said it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I would just try it. I mean, so your billing address probably is like a PO box or a UPS store box, and your shipping address is your physical house, probably, or is it the other way around? So, okay, I think there's a way in Amazon to have two addresses. You can have a billing address and a display address too. So.
I'm not sure how it works with ungating. I know that some people in the group gave you advice on that. I think I'd probably trust them what they said on that. I saw that. So I think you'll probably be fine with that. I know that I did change my address recently on a year ago on Amazon when they started publicly displaying it. So like it is something you can change, and I have multiple addresses tied to my account. So I think you probably will be fine with that. I'm just not sure exactly how strict they are for the ungating process on that kind of stuff. So I think you will be okay on foot on it because the people in the group said that you probably would be fine with that. So I think you will be okay on that. But if you have issues with that, I think you can maybe change your address on Amazon, under the business address, because I have changed that in the past when they started to display it to to a safer address that I wanted to display publicly. So I think it is something that you can deal with. I don't think it'll be a huge deal in getting you stopped up for that. But if you have any issue with that, feel free to post in the group if they reject it, and they can give you advice on that kind of stuff on how to get it properly on that. I just haven't really ungated much myself recently, so I don't really know exactly the whole process of what they're exactly looking for with the ungating on that. So
well, and with my Disney stuff, I got rejected the first time, and the second time I got approved. So just keep submitting it, and just be sure to communicate with them, because all you have to do is just get one guy to say yes, or one girl. And a lot of this stuff is, honestly, it's being taken care of in India and the Philippines, where the labor cost is a lot less, and they don't really understand, or they're not looking for it. So they may just click approve. And so just keep talking with them. It's like, hey, I have a billing address and I have a shipping address because I can't get packages at my billing address. That's why it says shipping. And just explain that to them. And they're like, okay, great. Just try that first. And if you get rejected, then deal with it after you get rejected a couple of times.
Yeah, he's saying he was worried that they'd ban him for switching the address. Um, the so for the business address that displays on your solo profile, I was a little bit worried about that last year when they started to display it publicly because I, didn't want it to be my home address or anything like that, and I wanted to change it to like, a like post office box, and I had no issues myself changing it. They did not make me re-verify my address or anything like that, but I was a little bit scared about that as well. But for me, at least, like they didn't require me to re-verify. They didn't like have any issues with that. Usually, the things that are really going to trigger issues on Amazon is if you change your bank account. That's almost always going to like trigger something if you don't tell them you're going to do that beforehand. But business address, the worst probably would be they'd make you re-verify it. Maybe I know I've never actually verified my address with Amazon because I have an older account. So I think you'll be okay on that if you have to change your address as well. Let's see. So when you were getting started on Amazon, did you like immediately start ungating stuff, or did you kind of do like casually at first, like sell stuff like casually at first, or did you like immediately go for ungates? I'm just curious.
Um, I went, uh, tried to ungate a bunch of stuff, just naively thinking that, oh, if you click ungate, you'll be able to get it. And I realized that the stuff where a lot of people were making a lot of money at um, was a little bit harder. So then I had to go search out how to get ungated in stuff that I'm familiar with, toys, sporting apparel, Nike, that type of stuff. Um, like I said, it took me almost a year and a half to get ungated for Nike after trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. So, but yeah, I
And
mean, it's with ungating, you kind of have to be on the lookout for stuff too that can do, sometimes there's some forums that are out there and different tips and tricks that you can use. Most of that is just, unless they say this is an auto ungate, it's a lot of garbage. But what I've seen a lot of forums are, it's like, oh, I got auto ungated on this. Well, it's just that product isn't set up properly and the brand doesn't recognize it yet. And as soon as the brand recognizes it, they're going to gate it. And if you're not approved, you're going to get your stuff stuck. That's happened to me a couple times where you jump on a listing that someone else created. You don't realize that it's not ungated, and then all of a sudden you have 15 or 20 units at Amazon that, well, you can't sell that now, so you got to take it back. So
so before you kind of got on Amazon, were you selling on eBay?
yeah, I
Yeah, cool. Mhm.
yeah, I've had it. It's funny. My eBay account turned 27 this year. I mean, I didn't even realize that. I had a problem with some shoes. I had to call in and get some information from them. And like, thank you for being a customer for 27 years. I'm like, am I that old? Yes, I am that old. But yeah, so I've had an eBay account for a long time. And I would sell stuff here and there. Like I'm big into sports cards. I have quite a nice collection. And I've been doing that for almost 30 years. Um, a lot of my stuff is just buying stuff there. I bought a lot of something and then, okay, I don't want these other 3 or 4 cards. So I'm going to sell those to help pay for it. So that's kind of like what I've used eBay for. Kind of what drove me into selling more full time is my daughter, who is now 15, almost 16, wanted to sell shoes. She wanted to make money. And she goes, well, I want to sell shoes. And so I kind of pointed her in the direction. She comes back, says, okay, shoes. So like, okay, let's go do Nike. I just got some money and I said, okay, look, we'll throw $5,000 at some inventory. Let's go buy some shoes and let's figure this out. And she kind of lost the wanting to do it as much, but I realized that, hey, this is an actual business. Luckily for me, the company I worked for got sold and closed like 2 months after I started. And so I had built up a little bit, made a couple $1,000s in the first month, couple $1,000s the second month. And then I lost my job. And so luckily that was going into the Christmas season in 2019. And so I was able to kind of just full time go to Nike every day, go to Ross every day. And that's kind of how I developed my routine of how to do this and everything. So definitely is a benefit for having that, so it's definitely good money to rely on if you have to, when you're not having a full-time job. So
Yeah, when I was like, I kind of played around with eBay a little bit like years ago. And um I think that like I was kind of like involved in like, making websites and stuff like that. And my main hang up on it was that I didn't think it was that scalable. I didn't think I'd be able to get the inventory like consistently with that. Like I would occasionally like sell my old used video games and sometimes run across a couple deals and like sell them. But I didn't think that I could actually like do it like scale it enough. So like I I really wish that I had got started into it a lot earlier than I did. Because like I think it like would have changed like a lot of stuff for me with it. Um, and I think the big thing for me was kind of like figuring out that I could go to garage sales and go to thrift stores and actually kind of get some inventory really, really cheap from there, and then kind of learn as I went, like continued on through that, um, and just be able to like learn more about the retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, being able to buy bulk lots and stuff like that, and kind of like leveled up let's go as I went with it. But I really regret like because like I used to read back in like 2005 2006 of people about people going to book sales with these Dell Axum scanners, like PDAs, old stuff like
Yeah.
that. And like I wanted to try it out, but I didn't want to spend like the $400 on the PDA and stuff like that, and I didn't think it was really scalable and wasn't sure if people were actually making money with it. So I kind of stayed with my like website stuff. I really wish that I gotten involved with it a lot sooner. Like kind of like tech was getting involved in like selling the computer stuff early on, and finally found his like niche in clothing. But for some reason I just didn't think it was scalable or like something I could do consistently and get enough inventory for it. So like that's one of my regrets is I didn't get involved in it earlier, because it's really cool like what we can do with this kind of stuff to be able to buy stuff for like a couple bucks and then sell it for much more. Like that's what I really love about it, is like finding value in in these items that people don't really value, and being able to get them super super cheap. uh so that's what I love about reselling, really. And I wish I got involved in it a little bit sooner. But like it's been really good for me like this time with it. So uh like um we're like, do you still sell on eBay now, or is it mostly Amazon for you?
Yeah, it's about 50-50 right now. Like I said, I do a lot of shopping at Ross, um, and the Nike clearance. And so I'm always looking for items that go for there. I've kind of, you know, narrowed it down a little bit, because I do have a full-time job. I'm leaning more towards the stuff that is easy. I can package up on a Sunday afternoon and get my shipment out on Monday to Amazon and send in weekly shipments. And so I've kind of started to lean more into that than on eBay. But I'm also like, back in the summer, I went out and bought almost 200 used items. Just went to Goodwill. We have a lot of Goodwills here in Vegas, a lot. And we actually have a bins. I went once. I didn't care for it, but I'm going to try and do that again one of these days. But I've been picking up stuff at the 50% off sale, the dollar Saturdays, when they're trying to clear out whatever color it is for the week. And I'm starting to see a lot more return on that. And so for me, I can go into one of the larger ones and on a Saturday come out with 30 to 50 pieces, which helps fill my minimum requirements for the week. I'm at right now on eBay, I'm a +5 guy. So if I sold, I'm selling anywhere between 2 and 7, 10 items a day. I have about 650 items in my store right now. And so I'm trying to do +5. I want to get that over 1,000 total numbers. It's just the places that I've been trying to get inventory, like Nike, it's a ghost town in there. And there's a couple other major resellers that have backdoor access to things that I don't have access to, even though I spend tens of thousands of dollars a month at the Nike store. They're spending $10,000 a week or more or a day, which you're not supposed to be able to do, by the way. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
another story.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I've actually heard that Savers, there's a ton of Savers in Las Vegas as well. Like
their pricing sucks.
yeah, yeah, they've gotten pretty bad, especially on books. Like when I first got started, like I got lucky and Savers used to have like super, super cheap books, like, like 50 cents and like $2 max. And now they're like 3.99 for a lot of books. So I assume that's probably they've been going up a lot for most of their stuff. But
Well, like
yeah.
most of their like clothing brands, Tommy Bahama, the 20 brands that Tech buys, right? You can't touch that stuff for under $10 an item. Most of it's 15 to 20. It's like there's no margin because it sells for 20 on eBay. I can't buy it for 10.99 or 14.99 and make money on it. So I ended up I went 4 or 5 times and went, it sucks to spend an hour in a store and walk out with literally nothing. So
Yeah, I stopped going to my local Savers. I don't really go to the thrifts too much anymore, but like after not going there for a long time, there was just nothing there. So it's a little bit disappointing because Savers was pretty much like the thrift store, which kind of got me started going to thrift stores. And I
yeah,
used to really dominate their book section there and just like really do really well with their books. They used to be my big like source of stuff. And it's just really gone down a lot. But like they're a business, so if they can do better, like and sell for more,
yeah,
like you can kind of cut us out.
yeah. Like Tech used to have his route he goes to. My Saturday route, I haven't gone the last couple weeks, but I need to get back at my Saturday route. Is Ross opens at 8. I'm in there in Ross number one between 8 and 8:30. If it's a really good day, I'm out by 9. There's a Burlington next door that opens at the same time. I'm in and out of there. And then I go to the one down the strip. And then if I have time, I'm trying to go. I have a very, I won't say which one it is, but I found a Goodwill that isn't necessarily cleaned out during the week. And so I can go on Saturday and get 20 to 50 items from that Goodwill on the dollar sale. And so I can get a lot of good items there. So that's kind of been my route. That was my route for about 6 weeks. I was able to get a lot of good inventory and get in and out quickly. That quickly for me is better than quantity, just because of timing of everything. That's why I don't go to the bins. I went once. Unfortunately, I took my 5-year-old son with me, which was kind of a mistake. And it was just a little bit too crazy, too much going on. I didn't realize hurricanes happen in buildings until I had pairs of pants being thrown at my head. But yeah, I do need to go just because the product is so cheap. And I found a couple other resellers here in town that I have a feeling that's where they're getting their inventory from, because I found a reseller here that has 27,000 items. I'd never seen a store before, but I was looking for a very specific, I'm a huge Golden Knight hockey fan. And when the first came out, they had this polo shirt or polo sweatshirt, like a really high end $200 polo sweatshirt. And I actually found one in Vegas, and I was like looking at his store, and I'm like, there's no way he has to be getting all this stuff at the bins, because the stuff is definitely, he has too much to be hitting in an individual store. So
Nice. Yeah, yeah. So when you're going to like Ross and Burlington, what kind of stuff are you generally looking for there?
shoes first. Their shoes have been really weak, but I'll walk through the shoe aisle real quick, see if they have anything. The good thing is with their staffing shortages, by the time probably 70-80% of the time, they're still in the racks. So I can very quickly go through the rack and see if there's anything. Um, I don't think Nike's been sending a lot of stuff to those places unless it's just oddball stuff. Like they'll get a lot of golf in, but like sneakers, there hasn't. I can't tell you the last time I bought a Nike sneaker at Burlington or Ross. It's been 4 or 5 months. Um, but they do have the sports stuff that they'll clear out, and then I'll go through the athletic section, the men's section first. Just kind of do a quick glance through that. They get a lot of high-end polo stuff, so I'll check the jackets. The jackets are right next to the end of all the athletic stuff, and just kind of walk through those aisles real quick, just checking them. And then depending on the season, like during the summer months and into the school season, I do a lot of JanSports. I sold over 500 backpacks on Amazon this year. So I'd go through the backpacks and clear out everything that I could make money on every day. And the cool thing is, like, when you buy 20 to 30 backpacks a day and you go to a volume store like that, they go, oh, here's a bin you can go through. So it's very nice. I mean, one day it took me 3 trips to get to my car. I have a Tesla and I filled it up. Like, literally, I couldn't put more in it. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. What model Tesla do you have?
I got a 2015 Model S. I got it used. I got a smoking deal, and it has the original autopilot and free supercharging. Which my office, I can see the supercharger from my office window. So too bad there's only 8 stalls. Otherwise, I'd charge almost exclusively there. But yeah, I love it. It's a great car. I got a great price on it. If you're in the market and you want to get one, everybody who I've ever let drive it loves it. My wife wants to steal it every day. And so like I can't stand up about it. I love the car. And they're getting really cheap. I mean, mine was under 40,000 with low mileage and everything on it, and you can get them cheaper than that. And don't worry about them going over 100,000 miles. And the battery packs aren't that expensive if you have to replace them, because you don't actually replace the whole pack. You take it to a specialist for $3,500 and they'll go through it and they'll replace the battery cells that are actually defective instead of giving you a whole pack. So it's not as expensive. It's comparable to changing a transmission on a regular car should you have issues. But I know someone who has over 200,000 miles on his Tesla without any issues.
Nice. Yeah. I know you have to go pretty soon. But so if
I got
anyone has
about 10 more minutes.
yeah. If anyone has any like questions, feel free to put them in chat. Like anything related to ungating or anything like this. Matthew says, was JanSport difficult to ungate for you?
JanSport's not gated.
Yeah, if you're ungate, if you're gated for it, you might just need to have like a little bit more sales in your account. I know I'm not gated on it myself too. So
they do file a lot of crash. They do file a lot of IP complaints. I've gotten 2 letters and never heard anything more from them. I talked with an attorney and they said, look, they're not protecting their brand. If they want to prevent you from selling this, they got to at least gate the brand and actually have a gate where you have to provide invoices. They haven't even filed the proper paperwork, it seems like, with Amazon to actually protect their brand. They just send out letters for people. I know someone else in another group that I belong to for Amazon. He sells mid to high 6 figures every year of JanSport. He gets 2 or 3 letters a year, and he's done it for 6 or 7 years now, and he's never heard from an attorney other than that letter. So
yeah, I know that in the video game space, 2K Games and Sony is represented by a firm that has no teeth, basically. I'm not sure if JanSports is similar with it, but they'll occasionally send letters and try to fish for information, but they don't like actually file any claims with Amazon, and like they're probably have even less teeth than the JanSport, because they're not even asking you to stop selling it. They're just saying, where are you getting your inventory from? And they're not even like, it's pretty ridiculous, those things.
Like JanSport's thing was, well, you're breaking our agreement with Ross that they're not going to sell to resellers, right? Come on, Ross has got to understand that when I'm buying hundreds of bags from them, that I'm a reseller. Like, I'm not hiding the fact that I'm doing it, but they're also not preventing me from doing it. And I have no way of knowing what their agreement with Ross actually is. You know?
Yeah. What Crash is saying in chat, like asking to get I don't know if that firm actually represents PlayStation or not. They claim to, but I don't know for sure if they're the reason why they are gated. So like I'm really not sure. Like I know that there's no way to ungate Sony right now. I'm not super concerned about it, because there's only a couple games really that you'd want to sell a new condition for them, like especially this Q4 coming up. There's no like Ratchet and Clank is basically the only game that's going to be affected by it that might be on sale. So I'm not like super concerned about it. And if you can always just sell it as used like new and just say like factory sealed in the condition notes. And you won't lose a ton of sales by doing that. So I'm not super worried about like trying to get that Sony on gate in new condition. So it's not something that's really on my radar that I'm not concerned about with that. So um
Well, and here's another thing on a lot of the ungates too. Like I see this in Lego. We happen to have a Lego store here, so I can get Legos that most people can't get access to on a daily basis. In fact, on my way to my Area 15 meeting, I'm going to stop at the Lego store and buy 4 specific sets that I've been buying literally every day because they have them. It's one per person per day. But some of the sets I tried to sell the new Home Alone set, and it's not even on Amazon, and you can't get it on Amazon because they have the code lock, the UPC code lockdown. And then some of the other ones, it's still restricted. So I've seen that with some other stuff too. I tried to just to look at it to see how it is to sell a brand new pair of Jordans, just to see what it would look at it. I got a pair in, and I was just seeing do some research on it, look at the Keepa charts on it and stuff like that. I probably wasn't going to sell them on Amazon, but it's just that specific product is restricted. I was ungated for the brand, but that specific shoe, Nike had a close down on that only certain people could sell that UPC code on Amazon. And I still don't know how to get that one ungated. And no one at Amazon knew either.
yeah, you will see that occasionally where just random stuff is just completely locked down. Like I'm not exactly sure what causes it sometimes with that kind of stuff with it, but yeah. I really appreciate you like sharing like your experience with that. And I think it's like you have a really cool story, like kind of getting started and doing this with it. And most people don't put in like the effort that you put into like all this like like a lot of people kind of like fail pretty early on the Amazon process with it. So it was really cool to hear like how you've really like built up your account over time through like being able to sell a lot of the stuff and like are getting more successful with it with going on with that. So I really like appreciate uh you. And Matt says thank you so much for answering my questions here and on Instagram. James, are you on Instagram? I don't know if like
I am. It's LV Web Guy, but you're gonna see cocktails and Disney,
okay.
and that's about it. I'm not I'm not active. I'm more active on Facebook. But it's funny. One year, you know how they do the best night of the year. I had 6 photos for the year one year.
Yeah, I don't use Facebook myself much either, other than just checking out the groups. But
I mean,
yeah,
honestly, that's the only reason I have Facebook
yeah,
anymore. It's
yeah,
just
pretty
because of
much.
that, and I have to have an account for the ad center. And if
Yeah.
that wasn't the case, I would be on Facebook.
Yeah, I used to do the Facebook ad game too. So I've got a couple Facebook accounts like they
If
used to.
you and I ever connect offline, I'll tell you some of the cool things we're doing with it. Like I figured out some awesome ways to do some retargeting with it. Like it would blow your mind what we're able to do with some of the stuff here with
Uh,
retargeting and other stuff.
I'm way behind on Facebook. I think I only did like in 2009 or 2010. So like I'm like way out of date on what the new stuff in Facebook is. But like it's really cool like hearing your story on this. I know you've got to go. So I really
We got
appreciate
about
you.
5 more minutes if you guys got
Yeah.
any more questions.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything else want to go before we go here? Um Matt says I only have a Facebook account so I can run IG ads on my POD print on demand pen shop. Yeah. Uh I like it. Let's see. Catherine says this has been great, getting me hyped to get on Amazon again. Um, COVID nurse, so crisis contract. Also, all my reselling side hustles have taken a backseat. Will be ready to go in the new year. Yeah, I think it's like a lot of people kind of get stuck on like Amazon's so much harder than eBay to get started with.
It's
Uh,
so capital intensive.
yeah,
I have almost $80,000 of inventory right now. 45,000 is on Amazon, and the rest is on eBay. And that number, the Amazon number, keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so, like, it's just capital intensive, and that's the only thing I'll tell you. It's like Yeah, it was one of the reasons why I didn't go into it, because I was able to buy as much inventory I wanted for the eBay side and selling through, and I was making. I didn't know what the hell I was doing on eBay. In fact, I'm not even top rated on eBay right now because I made mistakes on my account, but I'm having, like, from a year ago, I have delayed shipping and stuff like that. So I can't even get top rated probably till February of this year, till some of that stuff falls off. I haven't had a derogatory mark. I've had one derogatory mark on my account in the last 6 months, and that's because I made a mistake and just screwed something up. But I have 12 marks from November, December, January of a year ago, because I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't pay attention. I didn't respond to cases when I should have. I didn't fight things when I should have the right way. Even though I was listening to Chris's podcast, I just wasn't following what they were saying until I took it seriously. So
Nice. Yeah. Like Chris's podcast and Tech and Chris, like I think they like do a great job like encouraging people to list daily and like be consistent with it. So on eBay, like I think they make the best content for like eBay sellers. And that video that video that Chris did like a couple of weeks ago about like the only thing you have to do is just list these items. Like all I did was I just listed these items, and like just no one puts in the effort, no one puts in the work, no one actually does it. And like there's no secret to do it. That was like a great video that he did on that and kind of inspired me to try to do it.
and things they teach like have saved my ass. So like I decided at 42 it would be a good idea to start playing ice hockey for the first time. And so I fractured my wrist in 22 places, 23 places. And so just really gnarly. And then I had to fight with insurance. So I was out of commission. I couldn't use my left hand for 8 weeks. And so having a draft bank, having some of the stuff that they did, I blew through my draft bank. Luckily, I had some inventory that I was able to get out to Amazon easy with help, but I couldn't take photographs for like 6 weeks because I couldn't move the inventory with one hand without it taking like 5 minutes to flip a shirt over. And so it just really slowed the process down. But luckily, I had almost 100 items in my draft bank at the time it happened. So instead of being a 10 to 20 a day, I slowed it down to 5 a day, just 5 a day, and kind of rode through it. Got my wife to help me, got my kids to help me as much as possible, and was able to get through it. But without that draft bank and some of the other things that they teach you about consistency and stuff like that, I would have been screwed. Realistically, I would have been screwed. So
yeah, they have the best content for it, and like should be hitting 2000 in the group soon. So really good like stuff like with all the content, like all the different calls. Like there's just a lot of really good information they're putting out there with it. Jared has the media call now, so I'm gonna check that out next week definitely. I think that Amazon's a great place to sell media too. So I think it's probably the best place too, but like you know, we'll talk about that sometime later, maybe on that call as well, but maybe here as well. But thanks for coming on. Check out the new media
not a problem,
Jared. Like I know you gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, hit me up on Facebook. I'll chat with you, let you guys know kind of like my thoughts and things. And you know, I'll just tell you my experiences and how things are for me. And you guys can take that with a grain of salt and just apply, you know, I'm brutally honest with everybody. And so I'll just tell you what I'm thinking and how things are and, you know, try and help you the best I can. So I really appreciate this group and this call, and it keeps me motivated. And so I'm here to help and to give back and as much as I can. Not that I have the experience that Tech and Chris and you do, but I can tell you how in 18 months, 24 months, I've gone from 0 on Amazon to I'll do 350,000 this year.
We'll definitely have to chat about that in the future, because I think you have a great story with that. But really, thanks for coming on. I appreciate like all the advice on the ungating and stuff. I know you gotta go now, so cool. Let's thanks everyone for like coming out. I really appreciate it. We don't have to talk Amazon on the on the media call. I know most of you guys are on eBay. I'm just the weird one doing on Amazon. So, and that the media call, I don't know if it's going to change, but it was Thursday at 7 p.m. The first one they did this week. I'm not sure if they're going to change it in the future, but check out the Facebook group for that for the media call. Anyway, Crash put a UPC in chat, so you can check out that to see which game he just scanned in. So, thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks James for like sharing your story on this. Maybe we'll talk some more later as well about this.
Well, thanks,
You have a
guys.
great story, and see you guys.